Alright, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today, man, we're doing an update to, I guess, videos I've done for years now, right? This has been like a years-long saga where Jada Pinkett Smith, it seems like an annual event. It's like the Super Bowl of drama or something, right? Every single year, almost like clockwork, bro, Jada Pinkett Smith does some new interview or drops some new video around the red table, or some book comes out with a bunch of new perspective on all of this, right? And it just kind of like re-stirs the entire pot. This is like one of those crock pot ass meals, bro, where that shit has just been cooking for years at this point, man. Just been sitting there brewing and stewing. Like, I'm pretty sure this really all started back in like fucking 2019 at this point, man. It isn't even like this is something that, oh, well, 6 months ago. Nah, bro, this is something that's been going on for like half a decade. This whole embarrassing ass situation between Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. I mean, we've gotten the bombshell interviews where Jada Pinkett Smith admitted that at like the age of 43, she'd slept with a 22 or whatever year old August Alsina in her and Will Smith's house. She had been simping for Tupac for years, as anyone should know who knows anything about her. She's had a thing for Tupac since before he died. I mean, that was like her man, I guess. And obviously, well, Tupac is dead. He's been dead for fucking like 30 years. So this whole time, though, she's been thinking about Pac. She's been with Will Smith. Now, I think most people would look at Will Smith and be like, you know what? If you bagged that as a woman, bro, you did okay, right? Like, he's got money, he's decent looking, he seems like a pretty decent guy, right? Like, iconic ass actor. So obviously, that is not what has happened for Jada Pinkett Smith. She's been, like I said, every year it seems like something new comes along where she's like basically just putting her relationship with this dude on blast and just like inviting the world to know every little detail and like every little facet of their relationship. And I'm gonna be honest with you, as a grown adult, I already think that's corny enough, right? Like, the idea of people having relationships that they publicize to this degree it's almost embarrassing. Like, these people deadass just do shit like this to fuel their own ego. They're like, well, I don't know, my name hasn't been in the press for long enough, so let me drop some tidbits about my fucking relationship with this celebrity, right? Like, I don't know, man. I feel like normal people just want to go home to their wife or their husband or whatever. They want to just enjoy their family life in private in their home and leave all the other bullshit out of the house, man. Like, but in situations like this, these two have just continued to make fucking spectacles out of themselves. And at a certain point, when does enough become enough? You know, like, when does it become like, hey, we've been doing this for long enough, right? Like, we've been going for years now, just fucking completely humiliating each other and ourselves to the entire world. Maybe we should not do that for right now, right? But of course, it keeps on going, and we got some more stuff to talk about. So, a new bombshell clip of an interview with Jada Pinkett Smith has hit the internet, right? And it really kind of clarifies, honestly, a whole lot of shit, man. It really puts quite a bit of the stuff that we've talked about in the past, from the August Alsina situation, of course, to the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock incident, right? Like, all these things that have just been headlines between these two, a lot of it seems to really kind of go back to this moment right here. So
there are so many surprising things in the book, but the thing that surprised me the most, that I actually had to reread it because I said, is this true?
Right.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Yes.
It was not a divorce on paper,
right,
but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
yes,
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
So in this clip, right, Jada Pinkett Smith says something that, like, I don't know, it feels kind of like a pretty shocking revelation, right? Because you gotta keep in mind, like, throughout all of these big incidents and moments, right, Will Smith has continued to stick through it, right? He, every single time, ends up just getting, like, clown of the day, really, bro. Like, he sat there and they had that whole red table talk about her cheating with August Alsina. He was clearly embarrassed and emotional about the whole situation. The internet absolutely dogged this guy, talking about he's in a toxic relationship, he's in a cycle he needs to break and get out of. That woman really don't love that man, all this other shit, right? And he sat through that. He took that shit on the chin like a man, and he went ahead and dealt with it. But you gotta keep in mind that according to this clip here, they weren't even together at that time, right? Jada Pinkett Smith is accusing, or is saying here, that her and Will Smith separated in 2016. This whole thing happened after I think like 2015, right? Man, it's situations like that that really put this kind of thing into perspective. Like, these two clearly are not in a situation that works, right? Like, these are not two people who should be in a long-term relationship. I mean, Jada Pinkett Smith clearly is not interested in being a wife to Will Smith, right? She doesn't want that. She seems to have not wanted that for quite some time. Will Smith, like I said, though, he kept dealing with it. He kept putting his fucking head down and just, you know, even though he looked goofy in a lot of these situations, man, he just kept going, I guess. I don't know. Now, of course, we got to bring up the whole Chris Rock Oscars slap thing, right? Because the next piece of information here is one that I think also really puts a lot of that into context. Jada Pinkett Smith reveals Chris Rock once asked her out amid Will Smith divorce rumors. Quote, he called and basically was like, I'd love to take you out. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, aren't you and Will getting a divorce? I was like, no, Chris, those are just rumors. He was appalled and he profusely apologized, and that was that. Okay, so according to Jada Pinkett Smith here, right, she just basically gave us the fucking key to the whole thing, right? Like, this really puts into perspective that whole Oscars getting slapped situation, right? Because look at it from Will Smith's perspective here, right? Like, one time, like, you can tell he cares about Jada Pinkett Smith. Like, even if they've been quote-unquote separated since 2016 or whatever, he obviously cares about this woman and he really wanted to make it work or whatever, right? Like, he's definitely the one who seems like he's the more attached one in that type of relationship. So from his imagine this, right? There's some divorce rumors going around. Everyone's like, oh, you know, Will Smith and his girl are no longer together. Next thing you know, Chris Rock all of a sudden is trying to fuck his girl amidst these rumors, talking about some let me take you out on a date. And then, you know, she denies him, which is a kind of a fucking surprise, honestly, because I mean, she was 45 out here getting her a piece of that young meat with August Alsina. You know, why wouldn't you go ahead and say, fuck it, I want the zebra from Madagascar too. Give me some Chris Rock. But, you know, as a man, Will Smith is like, oh, dude tried to take my girl, right? So then, of course, it comes up here at the Oscars, right? And fucking Chris Rock makes that joke talking about her bald-ass head or whatever because of what, alopecia, I think is what it's called. It's like a, some sort of, like, disease or something, I think. But next thing you know, right, fucking he makes that joke and Will Smith walks up on the stage and smacks him talking about keep his wife's name out his mouth and shit. Like, that's what doesn't make sense about this whole thing, right? Like, they keep talking about, oh, we're not together. We haven't been together for however long, yada, yada, yada. I had an entanglement with a dude half my age, fucking, who hangs out with my son. Like, all of these just random situations, right, where it just seems like, yeah, this relationship's not salvageable. And then, like, in front of the whole fucking world, though, you got Will Smith smacking dudes, fucking talking about keep my wife's name out your mouth. So, like, the whole thing just, it's a complete clusterfuck. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And, of course, as time continues to go on and these two continue to not get a real divorce and they just stay, quote, separated or whatever they're doing here, right? They're just continuing to fucking embarrass themselves even more, right? Like, the Will Smith thing, it really confuses me now, because, like, I get why he did it, right? Like, he might have been jealous about Chris Rock trying to take his girl, or, like, he was mad about the joke. But it's like, why would you say she's your wife if you're under the same understanding that she is, that since 2016, y'all have not been together like that? The whole thing, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. It just seems like when things, like, are able to be controversial in some way, right? Like, they're able to fucking, like, get their name in the press or something, all of a sudden, then, like, yeah, oh, there's something to talk about, right? So now they're not together. She's fucking, you know, R&B stars who are half her age. Will Smith's over here smacking comedians in the mouth on fucking global television. Like, the whole thing just doesn't make any sense to me, bro. And it's like, the more she continues to come out and, like, add to this whole thing, just by saying anything, the worse it gets for both of them. Because, like, from my like, Will Smith has stayed, I think, relatively quiet ever since the whole thing, right? Like, he smacked the fuck out of Chris Rock. You know, I'm pretty sure it really did kind of harm his career and his reputation. A lot of people thought it was unnecessary. Some people defended him, but I mean, you know, Hollywood, that's a business, right? They're not trying to have people there who are going to bring controversy like that. So, I mean, as far as I understand, his career definitely hasn't been the same since that moment. So it was like a self-inflicted gunshot wound for a woman who at the time was not his wife for like over half a fucking decade. And like, if you're Will Smith, why do you continue to like show commitment to that then, right? Like, if you know it's not working out and like you're getting a fucking idiot made out of you whenever she says, oh, we're not together, and you guys say we're not together, why would you continue to do shit that indicates you're together, where you just like humiliate yourself or inflict a bunch of damage on yourself and your own credibility for her? Like, it makes no sense on his part, because in reality, like, I know a lot of people want to blame Jada Pinkett Smith for Will Smith going up there and smacking dude, right? But in reality, that's not really Jada Pinkett Smith's fault. He chose to do that. He stood up, he walked his ass up there, he smacked dude, he went and sat back down, he kept yelling after all that shit. He said about it, keep his wife's name out of his mouth, all these other things, right? Like, he chose to do that, not her. Like, if she walked up on stage and did that, it'd be different. But, like, he's a grown-ass man who's a father, you know? Like, he can make his own fucking decisions. So, it just seems really stupid on his part to continue just putting yourself through the ringer for what? A woman who ultimately loves a rapper from 30 years ago who's dead? Like, she don't love you like that, bro. You're not getting the fucking honeymoon tour, bro. Like, come on, dude. She's got her son's friends getting stomach deep in it 8 months after they can legally buy beer for the first time. Like, it just, at that point, bro, when is enough for you? You feel me? Like, but for Jada Pinkett Smith, too, right? It's like, why do you continue to go in these situations where, you know, you go on these interviews, you go on the red table, whatever the fuck it is, right? Like, whatever medium you choose, you go there, and then, like, the first thing you do is just, like, re-spark the fucking flame, you know? Like, you just go there, you talk about this situation that realistically most people have been tired of hearing about, and a situation that has changed a lot of people's public perception of you for real, and you just continue to comment to like fuel your own ego and to just let the world know, like, oh hey, I do a lot of really questionable and stupid shit. It's really just a bunch of nonsense, the whole situation. And yeah, it is a lot of just celebrity gossip drama bullshit. But it's like, I grew up watching Will Smith and Chris Rock and like all these people, right? Like, I grew up with all these folks, man. And like, to see them just like making complete fucking idiots out of themselves for the sake of what? Like Hollywood celebrity attention, you know? It just not only is corny, but it just is annoying. And it's like, I don't think these people have the self-awareness to realize, like, this is fucking making me look stupid. And you would think that wouldn't be as much of a problem, considering these people are all multimillionaires, they're all rich, they're all celebrities who are famous for acting and whatnot, right? So it's like, you would think at some point that they would have some sort of representative or like studio head or some sort of manager or agent that could step in and be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that interview, you know? Maybe you shouldn't go on that radio station and say, you blew 3 dudes your son's age, right? Like, maybe you shouldn't do that. I don't know, like, it's things like that you would think are just, I don't know, they kind of snap into mind whenever you just kind of process a situation, but to these people, I think they're just so disconnected from the real world, like, the people who actually consume the shit that they say, that to them it just doesn't even matter. I don't really know, man, but it's something I wanted to comment on. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the whole Jada Pinkett Smith situation and signing out.